thank you. Tēnā koutou katoa. The last time I walked across the stage, I was in a beauty pageant. And I was 73 years of age. So, look, can I just say, I'm absolutely delighted to be here today, because governance and leadership is so important to where Aotearoa is going. And I want to tell you that you have a critical role to play. So I'm so pleased to be here with you. I am here because of you. And to the whānau and those who are listening from afar, tēnā koutou katoa. I'm sorry that you're not with us here in person. It's critical that we come together in person so that you can talk to the other presenters today, you can talk to each other, you can spark off each other, because that's what we need as we go into the future. We are living in changing times. Business is not the same as it was 5 years ago. The treaty settlements have changed the landscape. And so it was lovely for me to be here today and to listen to the other presenters who are directors and have worked in the governance space for some time. So I'm really so pleased to be here. And I'm not one of these people that come along, do a presentation and bugger off. That's not good enough. If you are asked to come and present, then stay with people. Stay the day so they can talk to you. And get a sense that you mean business. So it is, I believe that New Zealand is a great country, but we could have been so much better. We could have been, to me, we are becoming an undeveloping nation. Barely 5 million people. Why do we have a housing crisis? Why is our health system going down the tubes? Look at our justice. Even our education system, and police officers buggering off to Australia. We are an undeveloping nation, and Māori did not cause that. We didn't cause it. We're not the ones that are being booted off the boards, because we're very rarely on those boards. So that's why I say we're vital. We're vital to where Aotearoa is going. And never let it be said that we don't have the smarts. Oh, by God, we do. I was on a health board for 12 years. I was a city councillor for 11 years. 10 years I've chaired whānau ora, and I'm on other boards as well. And we do have the smarts, but we need to start far earlier. And don't wait until you're 40, till you're a kaumātua, or all of this nonsense. I want you there earlier. I want you there because the decisions that are being made are going to affect you, not just your mokopuna. They're going to affect you. They're going to affect the environment in which we live. They're going to affect the environment in which we're doing business. And some other bugger is making those decisions for us. So we need to be there. We need to be there. And I'm saying start earlier and take a planned approach. Take a planned approach. It does, and look, I know everybody's falling over themselves to go to the Institute of Directors on one of their IOD courses. That's going to cost you $12,000. Buy 3 great textbooks and you'll have pretty much what you need. And then start. And I understand there are some people here from the Institute of Directors. Well, kia ora to you. But it is true, you're following the books. So you can get those books and start making it known. Start making it known that you have aspirations to sit at the board table. And then look around to see who can help you to get there. Because most of us do want to see you there. Most of us who are in leadership positions, and governance is about leadership. And you are starting to lead and govern in a time of crisis in Aotearoa and also around the world. So you need to know what the job is, and you need to take a planned approach. And so I don't see any problem with somebody who is in their 20s deciding, I would like to work in that space, in the governance space? Who do I admire and respect that's working in the governance space? Now, I do have to be honest with you and tell you, I have worked on boards that if that was my business, half the buggers on the board wouldn't be there. It's not that they're not good people, because they are, but they're not good enough for the job that has to be done. And we sit on boards and we have this group think, love me, love my neighbour, love my cousin, everything else like that. That's not the job. That's not the job. The job is to think strategically about putting the controls in place that will take that organisation and guide it to greatness. That is our job, whether it's an iwi entity, whether it's a CCO, whether it's any other organisation where governance is required. And it's to sustain those returns. And so everybody around that table has to have, and I heard it this morning by one of the presenters, you have to have the courage to speak up. And when you see behaviour at the board table that is counterproductive to an environment that will make good informed decisions, you have to call that out. Taihoa, that behaviour is inappropriate for the board for sitting around the board table. So there is such a thing as a board culture, and that should be well emphasised to every board member. And if you fall below the acceptable conduct around the board table, then you need somebody, and you should all say, that's inappropriate, that does not serve us well. And please lighten up on the CEO. You know, sometimes I've been on boards where they've actually worked to undermine the CEO. Where the hell did that come from? We're charging the CEO to be successful in delivering what we have strategised about and what we've put in place and planned for. And that's not easy. And you get so many around the board table who think they're the CEO as well. Well, if you want to be the CEO, resign from your and then have a go. Because I can tell you it's not easy. Because every time a CEO comes into the room and he's got 5, 9, 12 people sitting around with him, everybody's wants to say about how well he or she is doing their job. Sometimes we need to hold the mirror up to ourselves and let the CEO give feedback. We might be horrified. So I do say, take a planned approach and talk to the people who are working in the space and let them know that you're interested. Because most of us who are on boards, we know who's coming and going. We know when there's a board position coming up. We know when there's a new organisation being created that will need board members. So let it be known and take that planned approach. And you might think, well, is it for me? Only you can answer that question. Only you. And sometimes I think, yes, the majority of people, given an opportunity, they will rise to the occasion. But for some reason, people think, maybe not for me. Oh, I'm not old enough. I haven't managed 300 people. I'm not earning 700,000. That's not what it's about. That's not what it's about. It's what you want to achieve with like-minded people to take the organisation that you belong to a better place. That's what it's about. And with good people, you can achieve. I have to say that New Zealand doesn't have a very good track record in terms of governance. We should be way better than we are. We should be way better than we are. And we don't. We're not exceptional. We don't seem to have what it takes around the boardroom table. So when you are thinking about the board position, ask yourself, am I the right person? Do I come with the willingness to do what it takes? Am I prepared to have those hard conversations? And who can I talk to? First of all, who has been on a board? Who can tell me that I might be fit for purpose? Because we can't have anybody sitting on a board these days who's only got about 30% of the qualifications. You'll get them over a period of time, but what you've got to come with is 100% willingness. Everything else will come, and you'll get the support from the other board members around you. Some of the best people I have worked with alongside have, and most boards don't have them. I always like to see, is there an economist on the board? Is there an economist on the board? And is there a strategic HR person on that board? Because we know the two things that you have to make your organisation successful. You've got to have the financial wherewithal. You've got to have the financial wherewithal, and then that will impact on your staffing. And if you don't get the staffing and all of that right, it can be very, very costly. Absolutely very costly. So are you fit for purpose? Ask yourself that. Ask the other people that might know you and say, well, I'd be interested. What do you think? And if they're honest, they would say, well, maybe not yet. Maybe not yet. And then we'll have to think, well, what else do I need to do? Who else should I be talking to? And it doesn't matter whether you are an NGO, a local authority, whether you're a school, whether you're central government, anything like that. There is always an opportunity to look at the governance role of that organisation and talk to people and say, I'm interested. And we should be interested. We absolutely should be interested. Why is it that when I see all these appointments, they're invariably Pākehā? They're invariably Pākehā. And I know many of them. And I thought, God, I wouldn't have you on my board. And the reason for that is I want innovative people, I want younger people, and I want people who actually know what's happening around the world as well. It's not just New Zealand. There are things overseas, and the American election later this year, that's going to impact on us. The Ukraine has already impacted on us. So all of these things. Do you know how many people I say, do you read the papers? Oh, well, no, I get my information on social media. Well, how bright is that? So, we need to be informed. We need to be talking with others who are working in this space. And as I said, I think the NGO is a sector that we should really be thinking about. Because everybody, look, it's very sexy to go on to our big entities, our iwi entities, because, they're out there in the commercial space and everything, trying to grow, and I understand that, trying to grow the bottom line. Grow your people first. Put your emphasis into the people, because at the end of the day, they are going to be the beneficiaries. They're the ones that we should be doing it for. Years ago, Teresa Gatting, and I'll tell you something, I do thank Don Brash, not often, but this guy. When I was working in Wellington many years ago, Don Brash was governor of the Reserve Bank, and he made sure I got an invitation to some of his forums, and they were all the business people from Wellington and outside of Wellington. And somebody said to me, what are you doing here, Merepeka? You just work for Women's Refuge. Just work for Women's Refuge. And I said, yes. I said, I fully understand that you're trying to grow the economy, and the exchange rate and everything else like that is very important, interest rates. I said, but I am doing my bit. I'm trying to grow our families, and that is of equal importance as any economic growth as well and development. And the NGO sector, and I do chair the Whānau Order Commissioning Agency, and it's so very important. We add value to the lives of our whānau, and I'm talking about our providers. When the government gets in the shit, they come to the iwi providers. They come to those people who live in those communities, who know those families. The only reason we're ever asked to do things is because the government can't do it. And then we're expected to do it on less than what the government departments do it. Well, I can tell you now, we put a price on what we deliver. We put a price on what we deliver because we know that nobody else can do it. And we know that our families need the best. And the best comes from those who have a vested interest. We have a vested interest in ensuring that our families are safe, they're well connected into their communities, they're living good lives and living to their potential. That's the vested interest that Māori have. And so when you're looking for boards and governance positions, look to see who's on those boards that it's going to impact the lives of your whānau, and move into those spaces. And if you hear of a shonky appointment, call it out as well. That's what we should be doing. So we've got our work cut out. Hang on, where am I? Oh, I've got a bit of time. So we've got our work cut out. There's no doubt about that. And don't think that our family are all going to be supportive. They're not. Working for the iwi can be the bloody ultimate test. And I've done that, But if you want to champion te tiriti in non-Māori spaces, then I can tell you, brace yourself. Brace yourself, because Pākehā do not want to know. It's too hard. It's not what they're used to, and they want to roll their eyes and say, oh, can we please move on? I've heard that so many times I want to throw up every time I hear it. You know, can we please move on? We're not moving on. The only reason you want us to move on is because you don't know what we're talking about, you don't care about what we're talking about, and you don't know the difference it could make to the lives of our families. So we have to be strong. We have to be strong. We have to know that what we're doing is so important. So when I have the opportunity and to assist people, and I say if anybody's passing through Rotorua, I'm always up for a glass of wine. And come and tell me, because, you know, we do know who's moving on, who's coming on board, and we want the vitality, we want the innovation, we want the fact that you've got mokopuna and that you yourselves want to still make a contribution. It's absolutely important. So I do say again, start young, take a planned approach, look to where you can get support, don't overlook the NGO sector. Everywhere where there is leadership required and where there is good governance required, there'll be a place for you. Kia ora tātou. Thank you.
Tapuwae.